Hello, and welcome to another episode of It Sure Is a Podcast. We have a lot of ground to cover today, so I really want to just get right into it. Because on the app that I use, there is the option to put in seasons, and I notice a lot of other podcasts will do this, just depending on what kind of stuff they bring to the table. And I am currently working and collaborating for some big changes coming to the podcast. But with big changes means an upgrade in hardware. And with an upgrade in hardware, that means that means money. And that's not necessarily a problem. It's just making sure I find the right stuff and have a setup that is mobile along with a setup that is more concrete and more stable. The only reason I bring this up is because over the past few months, I've been observing the download consistency and such, and literally we've hit about, give or take, 10 consistent downloads per episode. Now, for someone like Joe Rogan, that's laugh. You laugh at that. You go, ha ha ha. For me, that is a lot more than I ever expected. I am getting a little more traction and a little more consistency with this than I ever expected, and I thank you. I'm very humbled. So that is what's coming down the pipeline. That is what is going to be happening soon. So, with that being said, once we hit episode 40, we are going to take a big old shift into season 2, where there's going to be a lot of changes. A lot of things done a little differently, a lot of things done a little more consistently. Just because for my own sanity, because I'll do stuff and I'm like, oh man, I really like this style, and then I stop doing it, and then I'm thinking, why did I do that? That's kind of dumb of me. So, it's still going to be me. It's still going to be the same nonsense about video games and stuff we talk about, but it's just, there's going to be almost like a relaunch. It's the same exact thing, but just things are going to look prettier, things are going to change up a little bit. It's going to be a good time. So I'm just warning you that, hey, if you come back to the podcast and just there's a lot of weird stuff or a lot of stuff different, you're like, what happened? So that's our warning, the fair warning. So today I wanted to give a good old talk about Story of Seasons. Like the last episode I talked about, Story of Seasons is pretty much the modern Harvest Moon, because there was the falling out, and then they had the rights to the name, but not the game, and blah, 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 blah. After I recorded last week's episode, I hear a ding-dong at my door, and I go upstairs, open up the front door, and a package is sitting there, and it's Friends of Mineral Town. So, literally, it was Friends of Mineral Town day. I just sat down, like, we're just playing some Friends of Mineral Town, and that's what we did. And it was absolutely delightful. It was the game that I remember playing on the Game Boy Advance, but it was also given a lot of quality of life changes to match modern times, which I absolutely loved. And I haven't been able to put it down. In between that and Monster Hunter, I have not been able to put that game down. I haven't. No, not one bit. I haven't been able to put it down. It's just been so good, and the gameplay loop is so simplistic. But also, it's so, I don't know, fun. It's like Stardew Valley, like my Stardew Valley obsession that I had for a while there. That was when it first came out, but this one, like, I'm going back and I am righting the wrongs of me as a child, where I was not able to marry Ellie because I missed a heart event, and then when I waited a year, the game messed up or something, and I accidentally soft-locked myself out of marrying her. It's going to be different this time. But right now, I'm also the type of person where I am sort of, looking at my other dating options. I want to look at the whole menu. And there's actually some other characters that have been reworked, names changed, and art changed, which was very interesting choices, but they're essentially the same character. I have to look up my description of. Okay. So I was pretty torn between three different characters: Ellie, Kieran, and Ran. And after I kind of gave this description to my friends, they were like, "Brandon, what the hell? What the hell?" But I'm so invested. I'm like, who do I marry? And there's multiple save slots. So what I actually think I'm gonna do is three separate timelines, right? I built up the farm exactly the way I want it to be, but when I get to the point where I get them all into the married state, I'm going to make the different save files. That's what I'm gonna do, I think. Um, but so the three romantic options are Ellie, Karen, and Ran. And here is my Tinder profile, quick, to the point description of these characters. Ellie, a nurse who cares for her grandmother and also cares for her career. She's very down to earth, and she sports a haircut that screams missionary and prayer after sex. And I apologize. I have allergies because it's this time of year here. Yeah, so you start out with that first one. Here's the next one. Karen. She drinks a few and is fascinated with the ocean. She also is very straightforward and blunt about her wants and needs. She also sports the I love anal haircut. She does have a slight attitude, but she does have a heart of gold. And then the last person, who used to be Anne, but they changed her name to Ran. Not sure why. A tomboy raised by her father who's a goof, eats a lot, and enjoys all the little things in life. And also probably cowgirls every single chance she gets. So those were my those are my descriptions of the three love interests. And my friend replies with, "I'd still go with Ram. I need Ran." She wrote Ram but meant Ran. And my other friend complained to me about Marie, and I was like, "Who's Marie?" And I had to go into the game, go into like that villager list, and I never talked to this person. I'm like, "Who the heck is this?" She's some library woman. And Potpourri, that's the one that everyone goes after because she's got the good old pink hair and is flirty, but nah. She a hoe. She dumb hoe. But it's been really, really fun playing that game. Been really fun just enjoying the experience, enjoying my time with it, kind of reliving my childhood, but also it's brand new for me. So it's something that I'm just like, I'm as soon as I'm done, I'm going to probably go play some right after this. Like, I'm just, all right. So I got it last week, right? And I am just about done with the first year. So in Harvest Moon time, if you know how much time that is, that's quite a bit of time. Give me a moment. We got to get a coffee break in. I literally like just woke up and recorded this. Okay. So let's take a little bit of a step back from the farm simulator because we will come back to that in one way or another. But I wanted to talk to you guys about, I've talked about Sprouters. I've talked about the kind of farming game where you grow your monsters and stuff, which is still little pieces are being done every day. This is going to be a long process, but it's something I really want to do. And a lot of games right now are coming out, especially that Ova Magica, right? That game is coming out. There's a lot of monster taming games coming out, monster games, which is like weird because it's like 2020, 2021, even little 2019, a lot of these games started appearing. And I think just the people who grew up with Pokemon got to the point where like, I want to make my own game and I want to make a monster game, but they want to put their own flair on it. And with playing a lot of that Friends of Mineral Town, I'm very much thinking like, what if I could change my game idea a little bit to be farming? Like it's more farming because my idea was just like you planted them in the garden, you waited for them to grow. What if you like planted them in the garden, you have to water them every day? There's a day and night cycle, and you travel around. some of the concepts are starting to change in my head. A lot of the times with an idea, you have to have it all written out before you can really sit down and really get stuff done. So this is the planning phase. This is the development phase. Okay, so with that being said, on my YouTube channel that I watch, the gym leader Ed, he brought something to my attention I never knew about. Something that is right up my alley. Something that I would literally talk to my friends about who we used to play Dungeons and Dragons together. I would say, why has nobody ever, sorry, I tripped over every single word, put together a game that's like Dungeons and Dragons with all the stats and stuff, but put it in the form of a Saturday morning monster taming, like Pokemon or Digimon, like that kind of framework. Why does no one put it in that framework? Like, it's Dungeons and Dragons, but you're a kid and you run around with your monster. I don't know. I don't know. And a part of me was like, I need to make it, but I don't know the first thing about that. And then I was directed to Animon Story. Animon Story. And I already purchased it. It's already sitting on my computer because I don't think there's a hardcover version, but I am going to get some ink cartridges and I'm literally going to print this whole sucker out, all 136 pages, which ain't bad. Let me give you just the right off the cuff description. The tabletop RPG about kids and their monster friends. Jump into the world of Animon with this original tabletop role-playing game inspired by beloved anime and video games. You'll take on the role of kids who team up with their very own monster buddies called Animon. Together, you go on adventures, grow as friends, and maybe even save the world. So it's literally Dungeons and Dragons, but with monsters and different kind of evolutions and stuff. The evolution path is more similar to Digimon than it is to Pokemon, right? Because Pokemon, there's just, okay, you start at, let's just say, at the moment you asked me to bring up a Pokemon, my brain's like, and the only one that came to mind was Dunsparce, which is my favorite. And he doesn't even evolve. Okay, so you start at Igglybuff, go to Jigglypuff, then go to Wigglytuff. Right, you can't go back. You start at one and you grow. So there are 5 stages to the Animon evolution line. And I'm reading here. This is on page 53. I'm only to page 20 with reading through the rules and digesting everything. But there's a system where the Animon, they will devolve if they are weak or tired or hungry, kind of like in Digimon. So you have the fledgling, you have the basic, you have the super, ultra, giga. So basic is the Animon that is going to be traveling around with you for the most part. It requires a little energy to maintain, but still significant power. Okay, so when it goes to super, a lot more energy, and you have to consider that energy ultra. And it says here, this is achievable through certain special means, like naturally occurring places of power or other supernatural sources of energy. In Giga, only the most powerful Animon in the world reach the Giga stage, either through truly unbreakable bond with a partner kid or via seeking out tremendous amounts of energy. Some nefarious and villainous Animon might reach the Giga stage by absorbing energy from other weaker Animon. Okay, so it's like they can go up and down. Like the level will increase for your Animon, but they can evolve, and every time they do that, they get different skills. Man, there's just so much to unpack here, but it's just like someone did it. Someone set up the framework of a game that you can play that is very Monster Tamer-esque, but it is with It's with Dungeons and Dragons, and I love it. I'm so excited. Now I have to be ambitious enough to set up everything and get everything set up correctly. That's the kicker. Because I did get the Alien role playing game, and with that, there's a bunch of extra dice. There was a stress meter. There was like rolls that if you were stressed, you had to roll and subtract that from your main thing. The thing is, from reviewing this rule, it's simple. It's very basic. It's not, there's no extra mechanics added in. It just instead of leveling up your character, as you know, you being a kid, you're leveling up your monster, and any traits that a character would have in Dungeons and Dragons is given to the kid, and the monster is the one who gets all the attacks and moves. Is that if that makes sense? Um. So yeah, and it's so funny that what you'll need, and it's this very setup. I mean, this was $15, $15 on itch.io. So you write itch period io, and from there you sort of type it in the search bar. You just download the PDF, the whole kit and caboodle. So there's dice, pens, paper, and pencils, character sheets, and just be sure you have enough space for writing. That's it. Like you just need those things. In the Alien game, you needed all that stuff, but you also needed the stress dice and you needed the combat card stuff. I don't know. And right now, this is very much more up my alley. The monster taming game. So, Animon Story. It's interesting. I'm very excited to dig into it whenever I have a moment. So the question is, when will I have a moment? Who knows? Right? Being an adult and working full time doesn't leave you a lot of time for this stuff, which is probably why I'm such a huge fan of the Nintendo Switch, because I can carry that everywhere with me. Literally, in between places I had to go, there was an hour break, and the places don't allow me to go in there until the exact time. So, due to COVID and all that. So, like, I'll just park, like, on the halfway point or even closer, and I'll just pop out my Switch and play some Monster Hunter and play some Harvest Moon. Like, I love this console. Oh, but okay, let's get back on track. Animon Story. I'm going to test it out. I'm going to run the idea with my friends. So, whenever that happens, I will let you know, and I'll let you know how it goes. So the next section of the podcast, I thought, hey, let's go back on Kickstarter. We haven't been there in a while. Dude, I love the setup where just my computer's right here. I'm just far away enough with the mic. But, I mean, soon that's going to change with those new mics I'm ordering. Hold on a second. I have to throw my cat away. Get out of here. Thank you. And also having a setup that does not involve a cat just ruining my life and ruining my day. Okay. So let's get back. I don't hate my cat, but I hate when he bothers me. Kind of like a cat. Cats hate when people bother them, but when they want affection, they will come and get it. It's a very, very strange dynamic we have. Okay. I already backed this one on Kickstarter because I love the idea of it. It's called BulletVille, the new multiplayer parkour hero shooter. And if there was something you don't necessarily know about me, and I remember seeing this game, it didn't have a title yet, but I saw this game on indie games on the Reddit, the Reddit page. I love these shooters that you look at and you're like, they're not going to last long, or they're not going to make it. I don't know why, because they always have their unique flair, their own style to it. And it's just something that I'm so drawn to because I know it's a group of passionate people putting something together. Okay. So let me give you the description of it. BulletVille is a badass, brutal, fun, fast-paced, third-person parkour hero shooter and platformer inspired by the classic team arena shooters of the past, mixed with modern game mechanics. Featuring unique parkour movement, hero classes, vehicles, tons of guns, and many game modes for unlimited hours of gameplay. It's planned for PC, Mac, which no one ever develops for Mac. So if you develop for Mac and like think of those people, like I mean, you have an extra audience that you were at one point excluding because we're only doing PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and mobile, iOS and Android. The reason I bring up the Mac thing is because I had a Mac for the longest time, and I had it for school when I originally went to school for animation, and it was like that was a perfect system for that stuff, and all the computers at the school were Mac, so that makes sense. But after everything is said and done, I'm kind of like, I can't do anything else with this. So that's when I looked into other computers and stuff and got a PC and became part of the master race. Oh my gosh, this coffee's delicious this morning. Oh, mud didn't make the cut. Remember the last episode it talked about mud water? Did a little more research into it. Yes, it is a healthy alternative. Yes, it has some caffeine. It only has 1/7 of the caffeine of coffee. And I'm looking at this like, are you kidding me? Because the reason I drink coffee, I don't like the taste of coffee. I mean, I've gotten so used to it that I have my preferences, but I don't like the taste. The only reason I drink it is because I need caffeine. My stupid body, my metabolism is about as slow as a slug. I'm not able to keep up. So we went back to coffee. Now I'm not knocking the product because it did what it set out to do. I mean, I didn't feel the crap I felt when I had with coffee, but like after everything said, I need that caffeine. I'm sorry, I'm a weak man. All right, back to BulletVille. All right, here's more info. Game is currently in alpha stage. We have a functional gameplay prototype, Wage Wars with 6v6 maps and epic battles. There's a bunch of just wacky characters, which is pretty much expected for any kind of shooter at this point, where you have characters instead of just loadouts, which I like. I like that a lot. Unique parkour mechanics, which, if you go to the Kickstarter, they have some things playing where, like, you could just run straight up a wall a certain amount, kind of like in Apex, and it'll start sliding down. You could... Oh, excuse me. That was like a hiccup and a burp, but it just went down to my stomach. Ouch. Hate those. There's like grapple hooks. You can run along walls. And by the looks of it, like, any character can do this. Now, certain characters might have, like, a double jump, a hover, stuff like that. That's interesting. Okay, all right. Here, let me read this, because I'm pretty sure this is a typo. Nothing against you, BulletVille. I love what you're doing, but... All right, frantic shooting gameplay from games like Quake 3 Arena. And by the looks of it, it's very frantic. Diverse cast of game modes like Overwatch. I think they meant characters. Diverse cast of game... Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. And also... Overwatch has like 2 moves. And Jeff Kaplan quit, probably because they found out his internet history or something on the computer. And they're like, we're having him quit before it goes public. I mean, right now, Overwatch is pretty much a game that's just on life support until the second one comes out, but who knows if that'll happen. I don't know if I ever talked about it, but Overwatch and I, we have a very strange relationship. You thought my relationship with the cat was strange. Overwatch, that's a strange relationship. That's an abusive relationship that I keep going back to and I don't leave because it's my own stupid fault. All right, moving on. Character progression from games like Paladins. I was wondering about that because if your game's going to last like this, you have to have at this point, you have to have the battle pass system. You have to have the character progression. You have to have the unlocks. Third-person high mobility from games like Warframe and Infamous 2, which I do see some of the Infamous vibes only because like where the levels are set up and you can like run on stuff. Vehicle combat from games like Battlefield and Borderlands 2, which I appreciate the Borderlands 2. I'm glad you didn't mention the horrid third one, the one that makes me hate myself and everything that this earth has created, especially Randy Pitchford. Hope you go die, you slimy bastard. I don't wish death on anyone, but I hope he has a very bad day one of these days. Okay. So, the heroes, bunch of heroes. I mean, honestly, I could sit here and describe all these to you, but they're just a bunch of wacky heroes fitting different archetypes. And they look pretty solid. There's a cat with boxing gloves. That one is the one I'm like, that's pretty cool. Um, yeah. And you look at a lot of these characters and you can kind of see the inspiration from some things. Like there's Angel, who's like, I don't know, this. Well, here's the thing. Each one has a great description of them. So let's read Angels real quick. The greatest mind in the universe, with the heart of a child and the endless hunger to discover the meaning of life, which is 42. It doesn't say which is 42. I added that. Through the study of death. Born in the heart of a dying star with no known creator, the angel has a hyper advanced AI entity based on New Montana for one reason: to satisfy her unexplainable fascination with life itself by gathering test subjects for experiments into death. So there's that. Then there's an assassin that looks just like Zero from Borderlands 2. There's Orion, Skater Chick, Trax, a robot, and the movement they're really trying to sell you on. Like, it's very parkour. You like run up a wall, jump off another wall, land on the rooftop, hop over the rails. You can climb walls. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, slide down walls, grind on rails. I'm excited because of just all the movement options. And once I saw this game, I'm like, I want to keep my eye on that. And there's vehicles where you just kind of hop in, run around, blow stuff up. Maps, which are very... Honestly, Overwatch with its design did something so unique for shooters at the time, which was gave character to everything. There was character for the characters, there was character for the voice lines, there was character for the interactions between the fighters, there was characters. The maps were characters. And like after looking through these, you can tell a lot of these are like, oh, this kind of hits the vibe of bringing character to the different games, but it's it's great. Like looking through this in my brain, I'm like, this looks a lot like this looks a lot like that. But also you have to remember that this looks a lot like will also bring in like players of those games, because they're like, oh, I like that, so maybe I will like this. Because you're kind of comparing the things that you're interested in. And this is definitely, that type of game, BulletVille. A lot of stuff on the Kickstarter page. If you're interested in kind of the third person, competitive shooters, I recommend it. It looks wonderful, and I want to get the word out there. So let's go on to the next thing on the list here, which is Monster Tribe, the open world monster tamer. Now, I need to back this. I'm going to. I have been following this guy on YouTube. He actually has a YouTube page, and he has streams when he's working on the project. And Monster Tribe has been the thing he's working on. Reese Jeffroy, I believe. If I said that wrong, I apologize. I'm a big stupid. But let's read over what is Monster Tribe. Monster Tribe is a fresh new take on the monster taming genre, where exploration and strategy have become key focal points for the project. Players will find themselves in vast reclaimed wilderness of the island of Akama, surrounded by bits of ancient history and countless creatures known to the people on the island as the... Alright, hold on, I'm going to have to sound this one out. Ateyan. It's Ateyan. 8-yan. So is it 8-yan or is it Ateyan? I'm going to go with Ateyan. You will collect and battle with the Ateyan at your side, leveling up, crafting a team and strategies for many challenging combat scenarios, and ultimately fighting your way through the large towers that loom over the landscape of Akama. With a score crafted to seamlessly blend the sounds of ancient technology with the wonders of an untamed wilderness, a vast world, a gripping narrative filled with the style and mystery, and hundreds of unique monsters to collect and battle with, we at Boundless Games hope to create an experience unlike any you've ever played. We hope you enter the world of Monster Tribe and get lost in its wonder. Alright, so that's the pitch. That's the elevator pitch. Alright, now there's a story section. I'm not reading the story section, but whenever I bring this stuff up, I really always want you guys to take this, and if it interests you, go look it up yourself to form your own opinion and to gather your own information. Because a lot of people just take whatever they hear for face value. I mean, just look at the news. Or even Facebook. Facebook, when people post stuff and I'm like, where's the source in that? Where's the actual realistic, evidence-based information? And it's just like, oh, I just thought on Tumblr. Yeah, you big dumb. All right, moving on. Gameplay is, it looks like a 2x3 grid, 2 across, 3 down. And you kind of position your monsters to attack in certain spots. That looks really interesting. I really like the design of it, where it looks like you just explore this open world, you craft some items, and then you just have some monsters, and you sometimes run into monsters. It looks great. There's a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff about the monsters, monster biographies, battles. And I remember talking about the game Monster Crown a long time ago. And I talked about, I like that it is like Pokemon. You compare it to that, but it has its own flavor. It has its own style. It's not blatantly copying Pokemon. Even I've talked about Buddymon a few times. And that one, it looks great, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the style is like Pokemon. There's nothing wrong with that, but I also at the same time appreciate people who it's like, I'm going to have the framework of Pokemon, but I'm doing my own thing. And that shows images of you woodcutting, mining, fishing, foraging for stuff, monster taming, and the world's big. You got quests, you got dungeons. The team, by looks of it, is 3 people, which is Reese, the CEO of Boundless Games, programmer, pixel artist, and marketing manager. Shay, I hope I said that right. It's CHE, so I only assume it's Shay. The battle manager, programmer, game writer, and then Leonard is the music composer and sound designer. So, Kickstarter, you have all the goals, you have all the stuff. And right now, what's the number at? I forgot to read you the number for the other game. The number, all right, they're looking for their goal is $12,000. Yeah, pretty much $12,000. It's technically $12,023. I hope I said that right. I have not been in school for so long that I don't know how to read those 1,000 numbers. Because right now they have $7,715. And they'll have a little more on one side donate, but that's very modest. But the game also looks very modest. It's not trying to be Sky Climbers where it's graphically intensive and stuff, which I gotta check in on that because I just sent in my stuff on what I want to get. I'm excited for Sky Climbers. Holy crap, I'm so excited. Let's jump over to BulletVille. What's that at? That's all right, $14,004, and their goal is $100,000. But they have 28 days ago. I said that weird. And 20 days ago for Monster Tribe. So I'm gonna do my part. And I'm going to be sure that in the link of that podcast and also the link of the YouTube video, I will put that information in. So you can just click on the link if you're too lazy to look it up yourself because you're a lazy turd. Okay, let's go to the next thing. This already hit its goal. This is still hitting its goal. I'm watching real-time numbers go up. Oh my gosh, who donated $1,000? Holy crap. Okay. So it's Monster Hunter World, the board game. I mean, we're all on Monster Hunter Rise right now, but I guess we can go back to World. I never got into World, and I feel kind of bad, but Rise is where it's at right now. So 1 to 4 players, age 14 plus, 60 to 90 minutes in a game. It's just a board game from a popular game that is being translated. They have little armatures, little figures that look awesome. They look really good. This one already smashed its goal, though. And it's not... Here's the thing. I'm not, downplaying that it smashed its goal, because if you like board games and you like Monster Hunter like I do, then you probably want to get this. But I'm always looking for the underdog. I'm always looking to support the little guy because, all right, let me give you the number it's at right now. So it was looking for, the pledge goal was $208,000 and 100, I'm sorry, two 208,178. Oh my gosh, I'm stupid. My brain cannot read. All right, 208, comma 178. Whatever the hell that is. I'm really bad with numbers. Whatever the hell that is their goal that they wanted. Right now they're sitting at a nice 3 million. So, I mean, 3,247,518 bucks. I think that's how you say it. $208,178. Maybe. They have a lot of money, okay? That's the point I'm trying to get across. They have a lot of money. They're doing fine. They're doing okay. It's just, it's Monster Hunter. It's a big board game. It's going to be good just because of how it's structured and the people who are doing it. This one, I'm not too interested in because of that. I'm not interested in that because, okay, we already know about that. All right. We already know how great and wonderful it's going to be. So, boom. There it is. Get some cool monsters. They're going to have the Toby Kadachi. They're going to have the Great Jagras, the Anjanath, Rathalos. Of course, you have to have Rathalos. Yeah. And there's all these different versions, too, with different monsters and different characters. And, I mean, if you're really into the series, then this is going to be the thing where you're like, yes, I want to do this. Yes, I want to hunt all these monsters. But I'm at the point where I'm like, how much do I have to spend for all these expansions? And it keeps getting a lot. Like, you're going to be spending like almost $500 on this. But I'm not downplaying it. It looks great. It looks wonderful. Monster Hunter World board game. Boom. Let's move on to the last one I came across. Speaking of the farming games, which I started at the beginning of the episode saying we come back to this and we'll close on it, which is Growing Season. Growing Season is an accessible and straightforward farming and resource management board game for all ages. It is meant for 2 players, and it's based on Harvest Moon or the popular indie game Stardew Valley. It's accessible, straightforward, lasts about 35 minutes. Players will build and grow their farm. Players will start with 3 plots of land, not much more than that. And then over the course of the game, you grow crops, you sell them, you get more things. It's a deck builder. But all right, here's me going to be a big old turd about this. And once again, I'm not hating on the game because the game looks amazing. The art's wonderful. Deck builder. I'm always just, when it's 2 players, I'm never just me and one friend hanging out. It's always me, my friend, his wife. Me, my 2 friends who are brothers. Me and a group of friends. You know what I mean? We never hang out one-on-one. And if we do, we're usually just playing a game online just because of our schedules and stuff. But it's very much a deck builder. And on the Kickstarter, there's actually step-by-step instructions how to play the game, which I like because I'm looking at this, I'm reading through, I'm like, is this something I would like to play? And I'm more of a visual person. I have to look, I have to see, I have to, I have to be there. I have to be present and witnessing how it's played for me to get it. Reading instructions, that ain't for me. But let's go down to this little bit that I thought was important to talk about. Growing Season was born at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. With more free time on my hands, was a perfect time to start giving shape to an idea that had been in my head for a long time, bringing the colorful, cheerful world of farming video games to cards in a management game that is accessible to everyone. I like the accessible. A lot of my own game ideas, I always want to make them accessible. I want to make them as simple as possible, but I always like the mentality or the mantra or the motto of easy to play, difficult to master. Like, you can still get stuff done just by throwing out cards or smashing buttons. You know what I mean? In like a game or a board game. The priority has always been simplicity. There are plenty of management games focused on farming, but very few that serve as an introduction to the genre or can offer fast and dynamic gameplay. The ideal with growing season was to avoid falling into management of wood, stone, hay, and so many other resources that make up this type of board game. Instead, a single resource, money, a simple design with easy rules, but with the ability to grow and become more complicated as the game progresses, so that younger players can play without difficulty, and at the same time, the more experienced ones can find a challenge with enough depth that will keep them playing. Like I just said, oh my gosh, now I'm getting more excited about this. I mean, the artwork's fantastic. I mean, if this person was like, I'm going to make a game and this was art style, I'd believe it. It looks delightful. And at the, I love it because he's showing the process where he started the game with a number and it just had like a picture of a chicken he found online and the coin amount, and then it kind of grew and changed. And now it's the final art. Um, it looks like the team. All right, two people. All right, so let's take a step back. Let's give these people their spotlight. Spotlight? I think I almost said spotlight. Eric Rodriguez has been working as a content creator in the world of video games on YouTube, Twitch, and television for 7 years. Eric's content focuses on video game design, mechanics, and analysis, though he has a strong passion for board games, as his ever-growing collection shows, and he like has a shelf behind him and just hold on. Wait a minute. What? Those are all video games. Bro, you lying. You lying. I'm kidding. Eric's idea of growing season tried to bring the farming video game experience to the world of board gaming. Along with, he discovered a new passion in the field of board game design. And then Pablo M. Collar is fine arts graduate, comic author, video game and board game illustrator, and also a teacher. Pablo Moreno Collar is a jack of all trades. He's going to be in charge of illustration. The illustrations look fantastic. Rogues, The Shadow over Gerida, which is a comic that he illustrated. I don't know if any of you guys know that. Designs carrot box art, each time resources in the game without his ability, blah, 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 blah. Now we get into all the different tiers, you know what? I'm probably going to do my best to support this because, like, this is obviously a passion project. A lot of work has gone into it, but a lot of, like, time and effort's been put in. I was a little on the fence about it for being 2-player, but honestly, you know, I would rather support someone in their dream because one day I hope someone will reciprocate that with me and support me in my dream with Sprouters. Whenever that happens. I still, right now, my whole office down here is totally borked. Like, there's just crap everywhere, and it's mounding over. I need to figure out what's wrong with my brain. What wrong with my brain? But growing season, BulletVille, Monster Tribe, those were the Kickstarter games we really looked over today. I hope you find an interest, and I hope you decide to go support these people, or even just spread the word, because a lot of people just don't know this stuff exists. A lot of people don't even know Kickstarter exists. And with all this, you know, internet and connectivity in our world, it wouldn't hurt for you just to send out the message and be like, hey, listen, go support this or I'm going to kill you. Don't say that. I never condone that. Ever. So I hope you hold on. Let's take a step back. Let me try it again. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And just a reminder, big changes are coming. Once we hit episode 40, the season 1 is done. The age of Brandon is over. And the new age of the podcast is coming. In the background, I've been doing a lot of work, keeping it quiet. Because usually whenever I talk about something, the minute I talk about it, I set up a standard, an expectation that I defeat myself in actually completing. So we're not doing that. A lot of it's already in the work, a lot of new stuff, a lot of making it look more professional because I enjoy this. I really like it. And I have consistency on people viewing it, listening to it, whatever. I mean, the YouTube page is just a dead meme, but I know a few people who listen to podcasts on YouTube. I don't know why. One day that age will come to an end, and when it does, I will be there laughing. Okay, joking aside, be sure to keep up on that. Hey, if you think someone would like the podcast, just be like, hey, it sure is a podcast, nerd stuff. Go look it up. It's very mediocre, but I like it. All right. So everyone, take care. You stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next episode.